Hi there. My name is Sam Maihack, and I'm pastor here at Mariner United Methodist Church in Spring Hill, Florida. As I'm making this little recording, it is Friday, April 24th at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. One of the most prevalent questions I'm receiving these days is simply this: how long? How long before we can gather face to face in our church sanctuary and begin to do worship again in a more traditional way? How long before the safer at home guidelines are reduced or hopefully done away with entirely, and we can all begin to venture out and enjoy life as we've come to know it in the past? How long before I no longer have to wear a mask simply to go to the grocery store or the drugstore or other venue? The answer, of course, right now is we just don't know. We do know that as long as these guidelines are in place, we will continue to honor them in order that we might continue to contribute to the broader work of curbing and dispelling the threat of the COVID-19 virus. And we will continue to pray. We will continue to connect in any means possible, be it virtual or less technical ways, in order to keep everyone informed, connected, and encouraged during these challenging times. But that question, how long, is one that has been asked before. In fact, it's been asked by people of great faith who found themselves, as we may find ourselves this day, in a period of time which is difficult and begins to drag out a bit. And because of that, we wonder, how long will God allow these circumstances to continue? That question was asked by no less a saint than David in the Old Testament. Yes, that David. The David who slew Goliath, a man of astounding faith. And yet in Psalm 13, he wrote these words: "How long, Lord? Will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I wrestle with my thoughts and day after day have sorrow in my heart? How long will my enemy triumph over me?" David has a dilemma. He's going through a period of time where he doesn't really understand what's going on around him. And he's not sensing God's presence in the way that, at least at some point, he had grown accustomed to experiencing the presence of God in his daily living. And so he dares to ask the question that perhaps you and I have asked these past few days: how long? And he asked this question particularly of God. Now, for some of us, we may think that that's rather brazen of David, to dare to ask God such an honest question. But what it tells me, to read those words, is we need not fear being honest with God. Even when our honesty seems contrary to being a person or a church of faith, God appreciates and God is respectful of the fact that there are just times when we just have to come clean and be honest with God about what we're really thinking and what we're really feeling. David goes on to say in the psalm these words: out of his dilemma of trying to figure out where God was in the midst of this and how long this difficult time was going to last, he wrote, "Look on me and answer, O Lord my God." And he prays, "Give light to my eyes, or I will sleep in death, and my enemy will say, I have overcame him, and my foes will rejoice when I fall." That is David's prayer. And in this prayer, David recognizes his total dependency upon God for two things. He is fearful that this period of time will continue to last, and that at some point in time it will overcome him personally and physically. Secondly, he is afraid that the enemy of his soul, the same enemy of our souls that you and I face, might gain victory, might gain a foothold during this protracted time of difficulty. And so David prays and asks God to look upon his situation and to bring light into the darkness in order that neither of those fears might happen. But he recognizes in that prayer that he is totally dependent upon God to do both, that he has no power in himself to fuel his faith during these days. So out of that dilemma and out of that dependency, David finally makes a decision, and he says this: "But I trust in your unfailing love. My heart rejoices in your salvation. I will sing the Lord's praise, for he has been good to me." As David closes this little psalm, he makes a decision that despite the circumstances around him and despite his fears, he's going to continue to trust in God. And he's going to continue to trust in God because he reflects upon the fact that he has seen God's goodness. And while God's hand may not seem as evident in the moment as it has been in the past, he knows that once again, down the road, he will once again see the goodness of God, that his eyes will be open and his heart will be free to experience God's salvation, God's joy, and God's goodness yet again. I leave you with a question from the psalm. Where have you seen God's goodness these days? I invite you to think about that question and allow that question to fuel your faith as it fueled David's. Know that it's okay to be honest with God. Know that it's okay to ask how long. But also know that God is present and God is real, and we will yet again see his goodness and offer him praise on the basis of it. I remind you again of how to be in touch. Our website at marinerumc.org, on Facebook, our Mariner United Methodist Church page, our emails, our phone numbers. Please be in touch and let us know how I or any of us here at the church can be of any help to you along the way. And I look forward to seeing you this weekend at 10 o'clock Sunday morning for our live worship broadcast right here on Facebook. And of course, as always, the worship will be posted on the church website immediately following the live broadcast. Thank you for joining me today. And remember this: God loves you very much. Have a wonderful day.